This video is on a brand new turntable from Pro-Ject, the Debut Carbon EVO. EVO, as you might guess, is short for evolution. The new EVO model is the latest of an ever-evolving world-class turntable from Europe's Pro-Ject Audio Systems. If you want to read the full review on the EVO, click on the link in the description that will take you to the full written review on audioadvice.com. We also have a full written comparison of the differences between the new EVO and the previous Debut Carbon DC model, which will also link below. Now let's dive into the new Debut Carbon EVO from Pro-Ject Audio Systems. I was really excited to get a pre-production model of the Debut Carbon EVO before Pro-Ject even announced it to the world. It was a ton of fun to go through all the testing in this great new turntable. Pro-Ject's first turntable back in the 1990s was called the Debut, as it was their debut into turntables. This model later evolved into the Debut Carbon, the Debut Carbon DC, and now is getting some major upgrades and changing to the Debut Carbon EVO. Every version of the Debut has just been an incredible value, offering far more performance than most of the competition in the same price range. Like all Pro-Ject turntables, the Debut Carbon EVO is a manual belt drive turntable. This means you need to flip a switch to start things up, move the tone arm over the record, lower the Q lever, then raise the Q lever when the record ends. This is how almost 95% of turntables made today are designed, as there is no need to put a bunch of gears and parts under the tone arm, which could reduce the performance. Pro-Ject has usually offered a large range of color choices on some of their turntables, and that tradition continues with the EVO being available in 7 different beautiful finishes. Pro-Ject builds many turntables that cost multi-thousands of dollars, and like the previous models, the EVO is built to those same standards. Fit and finish is just top-notch, as is the box it comes packed in. Taking the EVO out of the box is a very easy process with all of the parts extremely well packed. A manual belt drive turntable does not really have a lot of features to talk about, but Pro-Ject did add something many people had been asking for with the EVO. Switching from 33 to 45 is now done by a simple rocker switch underneath the turntable. 78 speed is also now an option. To engage 78, you have to remove the platter and install a different belt, but it's nice to have those for those rare 78 LP occasions. As you can see on the Debut Carbon DC, to change from 33 to 45 requires you to remove the platter. The color choices, which by the way all get an 8-coat lacquer finish, offer up high gloss black, white, and red, satin black, white, fur green, golden yellow, and steel blue, plus a beautiful satin walnut finish. Pro-Ject recently introduced a new line of turntables in the X series, which are more expensive than the Debut range. From the looks of it, they took a lot of the tech from the X and filtered it down into the new EVO. Let's look at some of this new tech. The 3 feet are height adjustable and made from a combination of thermoplastic elastomer and aluminum. Pro-Ject uses the elastomer called TPE in many of their upper-end turntables, and we can verify it does an awesome job at damping out resonances. These are the feet on the Debut Carbon DC. They're nice, but they're not adjustable and don't have the TPE isolation, and they're not quite as wide. And these are the feet on the new EVO. They have TPE isolation and fully adjustable, so you can perfectly level the turntable. The rocker switch under the table engages a variant on Pro-Ject's separate Speedbox turntable speed control. This uses a precision crystal to generate the signal that goes to the motor, ensuring super accurate speed. A feature like this is pretty much unheard of in a turntable priced like the new EVO, and is an upgrade over the already great speed control in the Debut Carbon DC. Pro-Ject made a huge change to the motor in the EVO. It now uses a large steel plate the motor mounts to, which shields the platter from the motor. This is the Debut Carbon DC. As you can see, they had a pretty clever way of mounting the motor here. It's kind of on this little elastic band here, which isolates it from the plinth. On the new EVO, they've added a metal shield to prevent any electrical interference from getting up and out of that, and it's also mounted on these little TPE washers, and there's some on the top and on each side here. So this is the platter on the original Debut Carbon DC. You can see how it looks like, and it's a little resonant. Then we take a look at the one on the new EVO. It's got this TPE damping ring all around it. and it's just much deader. They're the same platter, but they've added this, which also has that flywheel effect. The tone arm is a one-piece carbon fiber design. This is one beautiful tone arm with zero play in its special sapphire bearings. Pro-Ject could not really find a way to improve this arm, so it's the same as the DC version. Sumiko, the US importer of Pro-Ject, had been working on a new line of phono cartridges for years. They wanted something that was a great value from a cost-performance standpoint. Sumiko worked with a team of engineers in Yokohama, Japan to develop a whole new lineup a couple of years ago. These new Oyster cartridges all have a new anti-resonant body and a special new generator system. They sound fantastic and receive tons of positive press from around the world. One thing we love about the line is the first three models have an interchangeable stylus, so you can effectively start out with the entry-level Rainier, and should you wish when your stylus wears out and needs replacing, buy the stylus for a more expensive model and greatly improve your sound. The new EVO comes with the Rainier model mounted in the line, and we see many people opting to upgrade to the highly regarded Moonstone when it's time for a new stylus. We feel the Rainier is a pretty decent performance improvement over the Ortofon Red supplied with the DC Model 2. Wiring inside the carbon fiber arm is a high purity copper with a separate shield that is all one piece all the way to the solid gold plated rear mounted RCA jacks. The Connectic E cable is included with the EVO. This is a pretty serious RCA cable with great internal materials and is the same one shipped with their more expensive turntables. Pro-Ject even compared different lengths and decided that 1.23 meters sounded the best. While the separate cable allows you to upgrade things later, this cable is very good. Pro-Ject made a running change in early 2019 to add these same features to the Debut Carbon DC. Setup was a snap. I especially like the very large stylus guard on the Rainier. Some guards are tiny and a little tricky to remove without risking stylus damage. This one covers the entire cartridge and just pulls straight down. The only complaint with the setup, and we see this on a lot of Debut Carbons out of the box, is the anti-skate assembly. You want to put the little loop on the second groove of the tiny post on the back of the tone arm, then hook it over a wire with a loop in it for a nice gravity-based anti-skating setup. When this was out of the box, this little wire assembly here was over towards the tone arm, and so it was causing it to not stay on this little notch right here where it needed to stay. So I just loosened the set screw and moved it out a little bit and everything was fine. The first track I listened to was from Donald Fagen's Nightfly album, IGY. This track has a lot of varied synthesizer and drum sounds all going on at the same time. Many cartridges failed to track this properly, resulting in some distortion. Not only did the Rainier EVO combo track this fantastically, surface noise was super low as well. Next, I moved on to the Squeeze East Side Story album from 1981 that has the big hit Tempted. The first track though is Quintessence. On this cut, there are two male vocal parts, but on many systems it just sounds like one vocalist singing. The EVO with the Rainier made it perfectly clear they were separate voices. Staying in the last century, I put on one of my favorite albums of all time, Eric Clapton's Slow Hand from 1977. The 9-minute long track, The Core, is just full of great energy with a lot of play off male and female vocals. About 5 minutes into it, it gets really complex with many overdub tracks of guitar, sax, drums, and vocals. Less expensive turntables tend to fall apart on this cut as they just can't pull all the information out. While I've obviously heard this sound better on some much more expensive turntables, this combo did just incredibly well for the price. I have to say, after about an hour of listening to the new EVO with the Rainier, I felt this is one heck of an easy to listen to rig. Compared to more expensive tables, it is lacking in very deep bass impact, and it's not as dynamic as some in the $1,000 to $1,500 table price range. But geez, it's one incredible bargain for the price. The sound is never harsh, it tracks great, and it just makes you want to pull out more records, always a winning combination. This table is simple to set up, easy to listen to, and you will get really involved in the music. And we saved the best part for last. Should you pick up an EVO and really start getting into vinyl, this table has several optional upgrades you can do to make it perform even better than it does right out of the box. If you have any questions on the new EVO or any other home audio or home theater gear, be sure to give us a call, chat with one of our experts at audioadvice.com, or stop into one of our Raleigh or Charlotte, North Carolina showrooms. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you can never miss the latest in home audio and home theater content. We'll see you next time.